another week, another controversy, and another boycott call. This time, the rage and anger is directed at actor Richa Chadda, who, through a reply to a tweet from the Northern Army commander, or a tweet quoting the Northern Army commander, seemed to cock a snook at India's efforts against China in the Galwan Valley. Now, at the outset of this program, I want to make it clear that the Indian Army and what it does enjoys overwhelming support and respect from the nation. The fight with China at Galwan is a serious issue, and Richa Chadda perhaps was too quick to tweet. She did, after the backlash, delete the tweet where she says Galwan says hi and apologized. But the question is, does her error of judgment deserve the threats, abuses and boycott calls that have followed? In a free society, should an ill-informed, tasteless tweet perhaps by an actor in her individual capacity mean her industry, her next movie, some company who she did work with and who's giving her the benefit of doubt, all deserve to be boycotted? What's going on? The last I checked, you were allowed to be stupid here. Why does Richa Chadda's mistake mean another boycott call for Bollywood? Now, in case you haven't followed the story, here's what has happened. A Twitter handle called Baba Banaras quoted the Northern Army commander, Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi, who said that the Indian Army will carry out any order given by the government. Baba Banaras was in turn quoting a news agency who ran the Lieutenant General's soundbite. Now, the Lieutenant General was talking about POJK in a press conference after the Defence Minister's remark on taking back Indian territory. I want to play out that soundbite so that the chain of events is clear. Listen in.
The Defence Minister rightly spoke about that just short while back, that the POJK, it's a matter of time that they will be taken back. What are the preparations so far as the army is concerned? The second part is about the security scenario in Kashmir Valley.
Raksha Mantri gave the statement about the POJK. As you are aware that parliamentary resolution already exists on the subject. So therefore, it's nothing new. It is part of the parliamentary resolution. As far as the Indian Army is concerned, Indian Army will carry out any order which is being given by the Government of India. And whenever such orders are given, we'll always be ready for it.
Reason I wanted to play out what was actually said is because please note the calm, measured way in which that response was given to the question. What did Lieutenant General Dwivedi say? He said very clearly that this is always known and the Indian Army is always prepared. So what happens after this soundbite? The Twitter handle Baba Banaras tweets out a statement. Actor Richa Chadda responds to it saying, Galwan says hi. The message seems to be first get back our territory in Galwan before talking about POJK. What follows is boycott trend for Richa Chadda and FIR and demands for her arrest. She deletes the tweet, issues an apology. After this, a company called Mama Earth that Chadda had partnered with is questioned. The company responds, seeming to give her the benefit of doubt. Now the call is to boycott the company. Mama Earth then responds saying it respects the army and rescinds its statement. To add to the melee, Akshay Kumar jumps in criticizing Richa Chadda. Ravina Tandon comes in with her views. And now actor Anupam Kher has also joined the fray. Actor Nagma, who is also a Congress politician, comes in to support Richa. Now we're seeing a division over here in views on what this one actor has tweeted in her personal capacity. Let me just play out some of the sound bites which have come in today.
ये रिचा चड्ढा ने कुछ बोल दिया, मेरे को तो खैर समझ भी नहीं आया क्या बोला उसने ठीक से कि
नहीं, I think you have been diplomatic. आपको समझ में आया. How can आपको ये बात समझ में नहीं आई कि उसने एक आर्मी ऑफिसर कह रहे हैं कि हम जाएं तो जाके POK में जा सकते हैं अगर हमको ऑर्डर मिल जाए, और उसके बारे में कोई लिखता है गलवान says hello.
मतलब आई एम शॉक्ड. आई एम सिंग मुझे समझ नहीं आया बिकॉज आई एम शॉक्ड कि कोई ऐसे कैसे
बुनियादी तौर पे गलत है, वो तो बुनियादी तौर पे गलत है. As a person, I'm sure she's a nice person. As a person, I'm sure she's a very fine actress. I've seen one or two work. But to say something like this, ये तो बोलना पड़ेगा कि गलत है. कि बायकॉट लिखने से कुछ नहीं होता अगर फिल्म अच्छी है. फिल्म अच्छी है इन्होंने आपको बताया कि यार मैंने फिल्म देखी, आप थोड़ा पहले जाते हो ट्विटर ट्रेंड पे, नहीं ट्विटर पे क्या लिखा हुआ है, हाँ मैं तो नहीं जाऊंगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। दीदार कल क्या ट्रेंड थी, आज से 2 घंटे पहले क्या ट्रेंड थी आपको पता नहीं होगा। ये तो कहने की बातें हैं।
जो भी ऋचा चड्ढा ने कहा था, ऋचा चड्ढा ने क्या कहा, सिर्फ उसने कहा था कि हाय गलवान। अब गलवान में क्या हुआ था, जब गलवान क्लैश हुआ था तभी ऐसा था कि चाइनीज सोल्जर्स हमारे LAC के बॉर्डर के अंदर घुस गए थे, उसी लिए हमारे 20 मार्टर्स ने अपनी सैक्रिफाइस दिया, सुप्रीम सैक्रिफाइस दिया और उनसे लड़ाई लड़े। लेकिन तब भी हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा था ना कोई घुसा था ना कोई घुसे हैं। तो सही माने में उन लोगों का अपमान किसने किया? उन लोगों का अपमान किया था हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ने, जब उन्होंने कहा था कि कोई अंदर आया ही नहीं था।
All right. So you've had people with political views come in, you have actors come in, you have activists come in. Now, here is the point. This is not the first boycott Bollywood trend, and it's unlikely to be the last. Bollywood movies, actors have faced boycott calls over many real and imagined insults. Sample some of these. Amir Khan has been facing boycott trends on and off before his latest movie because of a comment he made in 2014 saying India is unsafe and my wife wants to leave the country. Ranbir Kapoor has been, targeted over allegedly hurting Hindu sentiments. Alia Bhatt over nepotism charges. Akshay Kumar also, he's a favorite today, but he has also faced the boycott trend over distortion in Indian history. And you've had Kareena Kapoor, who has been, facing boycott trends. She's been accused of disrespecting audiences. Taapsee Pannu over politically vocal tweets. Deepa Padukone over attending 2020 JNU protests in Delhi. So the question is it time to boycott the boycott trend? What does this boycott trend really stand for, apart from making people think 100 times before they open their mouth? Should there be that kind of a chilling effect? To speak on this, I'm joined today by Dilip Cherian, founder of Perfect Relations, Kasturi Shankar, actor and activist. With us on the show, Murtaza Ali Khan, film critic, is speaking with me today. Gargi Nandi Roy, actor, with me on the show. And I'm also speaking with Mukesh Tyagi, actor. Welcome to all of you. And thank you so much for joining us today on the show. Let me start, Dilip Cherian, with your point of view on what we're seeing. We focused on Bollywood, but brands as well are very quick to face boycott. Who are these boycotters is what I want to know.
Tamanna, the good news is that these boycotts and these consistent calls are becoming, on a geometric scale, sliding down in terms of impact. The reason is very simple. The people who are making noise are not the people who are customers of these brands. Unfortunately, the people making the noise don't realize this. They are rattling their cages louder and louder in the hope that there will be an impact of these boycotts. I'm not going into the merits of whether they should be boycott or not, but all I'm saying is that statistically, what is happening is that the number of boycott calls is resulting in a geometric fall in the impact that they're having. That's one. The second thing is that if, as is very obvious now, people are going to have to think 2 or 3 times about expressing their opinions, we are gradually resulting in a kind of caging of the mind. And that in a democracy is extremely dangerous. Does that mean that you should not think before you tweet? I think except for Elon Musk, everybody should think before they tweet. That man has unfettered rights, and I think everybody else needs to be cautious and certainly not upset anybody unless they mean to upset them.
Okay, now I want to get more views on whether boycott calls actually don't matter. And there is one school of thought कि अच्छा picture तो वैसे भी चल जाती है. Look at Brahmastra. But look at the impact over time. And let me come to you, Mr. Mukesh Tyagi, because there will also be FIRs in various police stations. There will be lawyers who have to be fielded to protect you. The next time, if you're an actor or a Bollywood star or a producer or an ad guru, you're going to think 100 times about what script you put in. You're not thinking about whether the content works or not. You're thinking about who's going to ask to boycott it. So is it really right that these boycott calls have no effect? It's just some social media platform, let's ignore it. Doesn't it have real-world repercussion? Mr. Tyagi, that question's for you. All right. I seem to have lost his audio. Let me go across to Gargi Nandi Roy with that. Ms. Roy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Yes, go ahead. Do these boycott calls not matter, or do they actually have a real-world impact?
See, firstly, this boycotting culture is the culture of the left, you know. Now some people from the right have started. It's the absolute culture of the left because they believe in a totalitarian regime. And also saying that, do you think only Richa Chadha represents the entire Bollywood? No, she doesn't represent. And Ashok Pandit, who complained against her, he is the president of Indian Film and Television Directors Association. So he has a bigger post. So he also belongs to Bollywood. So here you cannot say that everybody is boycotting Bollywood, but there is a section in Bollywood. We have a problem with that section which Richa Chadha represents basically. There is a section, Tamanna, who think that it is very fashionable to be woke. It is very fashionable to talk against your country, against your army. So basically these people are very superficial, hollow, insensitive.
But I thought they were from the left. I thought they were from the left who like to boycott.
She tried to peddle the Chinese narrative.
I thought they were from the left who like to boycott.
So now that right has, and let me tell you, left is, it's a culture of the left. Now they are getting it back. The left is getting it back, but it is the culture of the left. And let me tell you how many percentage of people are there in Twitter. So if a film is good, it will run. Maybe she did this for cheap publicity because nobody knew about Fukre 3. She thought that somebody will know about it. So Fukre 3 will, I think people now will not go because people will not like to watch her. Honestly, at least she's...
Ma'am, you have unfortunately, Miss Roy, you have contradicted yourself so many times in this statement. 1 minute. Ma'am, you know, you have contradicted yourself so many times in your statement. You are saying no, 1 minute. Let me understand what you're trying to say.
I'm not contradicting. What I am saying is I may not watch, but boycott, if it's a film is
so
good,
boycott doesn't work.
So do you think
1 minute.
Actors should be...
Ma'am, can I just understand what you're trying to say? 1 minute रुक जाइए. Imagine boycott Bollywood is one hashtag. आपकी सारी बातें अगर उस hashtag में डालनी होती तो हम क्या बोलते हैं? आप कह रही हैं boycott Bollywood left trend है पर अभी right कर रहा है. Then you're saying boycott 1 minute. Then you're saying boycott Bollywood does not work. It does not matter. But no one will watch Fukre. Then you're saying Richa Chadha wants to be woke, but she also wants cheap publicity. So what is it?
Let me speak. 1 second, Tamanna, what did I say? I said now the right side is giving back. The boycotting people, cancel culture is a culture of the left. If anybody was nationalist before, the left would cancel. Okay, and where does Richa Chadha's allegiance lies? To the country or to the Chinese narrative? That has to be asked. So companies like whether Mama Art or producers should refuse to work with Richa Chadha. That I feel. But why should entire industry be boycotted for one person or some people like her? That's what I wanted to. I said now the right side is giving back what was the left.
So is it right now that the right is doing it? I'm quite confused. Is it right that the right is doing it, Miss Roy? ये सही है कि गलत है?
It does not matter. Boycott से कोई film ऐसे नहीं है कि the film will run or not run because
so
of
the boycott
Do you
trend
think
doesn't matter to the movie. 1 minute, but
no.
the only parameter is not whether a movie runs or not. At the end of the day, it doesn't, you know, in the long term matter to society whether a movie runs or not. Good movies are working, bad movies are not working. That's a different conversation. That's a different debate. The question is about this boycott trend being weaponized. 1 minute, Murtaza Ali Khan, let me bring you in. The question is about the boycott trend being weaponized. And that's what we're seeing right now. The boycott trend has gotten weaponized. Okay, Mama Earth, whoever handles their social media handle, said that we think this is a different perspective. Maybe when she was saying Galwan saying hi, she meant something else. Jo bhi hai, poorly worded, silly point of the brand. तो brand को भी boycott कर दो. Fukre 3 को भी boycott कर दो. पूरे Bollywood को boycott कर दो. I mean, I don't know. Even Richa Chadda doesn't know she's such a powerful Bollywood star.
See, what has happened right now is that the boycott culture has really picked up. And now everybody feels that they have the power to boycott Bollywood, to boycott stars, to boycott all these brands. But what I want to bring your attention to is the fact that we need data. If we don't have the data, then how do we decide that whether these boycotts are working or not? We need concrete data. As of now, from what I've seen, is that some boycotts have worked, some boycotts haven't worked. If I take the case of Lal Singh Chadda, the boycott worked. But if I take the case of Brahmastra, the boycott didn't work.
But Murtaza, was it the boycott that worked, or one movie was boring and one movie was entertaining? Let's be honest.
From a critical point of view, let me tell you that both are good movies. Brahmastra has also got its share of merits. Lal Singh Chadda also has got its share of merits. But there are other examples also where boycott trends have somewhat impacted the film. But boycott trends will only impact the film in the early going. If the film's content is good, then somehow the word of mouth will carry it.
But I think we're missing the point.
Can definitely hit the opening.
I think it's missing. I think we're missing the point, Murtaza. Frankly, again, it's not about picture chale ki nahi chale. It's about कि आप एक industry को target कर रहे हो बार-बार. You are creating an image that people who work in this industry are of a certain point of view.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, that as of now, all these debates, whether a boycott trend works or not, they are futile. But what you are saying is quite relevant. I've always maintained, that boycott is something that works mostly in the case of Bollywood in the narrative space, because boycott and Bollywood, there is some relation, and Bollywood is always a soft target.
So our brands,
anybody needs publicity, anybody.
So our brands, and we are showing you on screen right now all the brands that face the cancel culture. But with brands, you have data. इनको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा. Nothing has happened with their sales. Nothing has happened with their products. People who want to buy it have definitely bought it. But remember, actors are also brands. Mukesh Tyagi, I've got you back. Mukesh Tyagi, what is the impact on actors when you see these boycott trends?
Let me explain to you, there is an increasing
I'll come to you, ma'am. Let Mr. Tyagi speak first.
Some preposterous political idea. You see, there is a ascending tendency of some preposterous political ideologues who have very little idea of India and making absolutely random remarks without understanding the consequences. Bollywood is a soft power. They have a huge impression on the youngsters. So any statement made by Bollywood percolates down like across the globe. So one has to be extremely cautious. Now, looking at the branding, you see, I think the top brands, they dissociate, they distance themselves from any star. It doesn't matter what stature the person has, if there is a trolling against him, or they have made some irresponsible anti-India statement which can be perceived. So the brand does not want to risk. I mean, what the celebrity is going to lose is a different issue. But the internationally sensitive brands or any reputed brand is extremely sensitive whether they should associate with an actor whose image is going down the drain. Now, I've seen it. I think there are many instances where brands have withdrawn. So what I'm trying to say is, like Richa Chadda making a statement, can you imagine the intensity of this statement? It's like absolutely balkanizing. She's mocking upon the Indian Army. She's saying,
Tyagi, why are you taking Richa Chadda? 1 minute. Why are you taking Richa Chadda and her 3 words so seriously? No, 1 minute. You think the Indian Army cares about what Richa Chadda has said? आप इतना उसको seriously क्यों ले रहे हैं? ये मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. You think the Indian Army cares two hoots about what Richa Chadda says? Twitter is a social media platform in which people talk nonsense all the time.
Why Nagma is jumping into the fray? There is a political design.
What is the political
There is a political design. Why Nagma is supporting such an anti-India statement?
But that is the Congress's position.
So there
the
is some
Congress
kind of a
party's
collusion
position as opposition
by some
is that the government
anti-Indian
of the day has done a bad job in Galwan.
these people
They have a right as
consolidated.
opposition
So
party
there
to
has
make that
be a
statement.
deterrence. If no, they can make a statement, but you cannot demoralize the Indian army. You can demoralize
That's what I'm
anybody else.
saying. How is Indian
has
army
lost
getting
20,
demoralized by
soldiers
Richa
on-
Chadda
on-
making
on
a statement?
Galwan?
I fail to understand. Kasturi Shankar. Kasturi Shankar.
obviously
Point
getting
number one.
demoralized.
1
You're
minute.
saying,
Kasturi Shankar.
Galwan
Point
says
number
hi.
one. Why
But
so
Galwan
much
says hi
importance
means
given
you
to
are-
Richa Chadda's one statement? Is the Indian army going to get demoralized because of Richa Chadda's one statement? Achha, she made the statement, she realized that, you know, it didn't age well. It was a silly thing to say. She's deleted it, she's moved on. Hopefully, I don't know. Now, let's boycott anyone ever associated with her. Let's boycott her movie. Let's boycott some brand जिसने कोई लग गया. Isn't this getting out of hand?
Okay.
What is, and the worst thing is this boycott trend is not going to actually matter in the real world.
I'm going to actually start from your first sentence. Why so much importance to Richa Chadda's one statement? I'm actually going to turn back and ask you right back at you. Why so much importance to Richa Chadda? कौन है ये कि हम 3 दिन से यही डिस्कस कर रहे हैं? Richa Chadda said this, Richa Chadda said this. I'm
बहुत
not
अच्छा
as
आपने
an
सवाल
actor
पूछा है.
with zero malice.
नहीं,
Not
मैं
as an
बहुत अच्छा सवाल पूछा है. Would you like me to answer? I have not
Okay.
discussed this from 3 days. I have discussed it only today. And why have I discussed it today? I played a graphic a few minutes ago and I will play it again. On the list of Bollywood actors who have faced boycott calls. On the list of brands that have faced boycott calls. I'm not talking about one Richa Chadda. I'm talking about this weekly boycott drama. It can be this reason or it can be that reason. I'm not going into the merits of each of these cases. I'm talking about what is happening in this country that when you don't like what someone says, boycott them in your heart. What is this boycott trend?
Okay.
What are you trying to say? That's the issue. You're right. You're very right to ask Kasturi Shankar.
Yeah,
You know,
so let me
Chadda's
get...
statement and her 3 words don't make a difference to the Indian army. It doesn't make a difference to India's foreign policy. It has no relevance. So what is the big deal?
Okay, so here's the thing. Number one, I think, knowingly or unknowingly, Richa Chadda has done a world of good to herself. Because people like me who didn't really have her in our radar now do. The entire country is talking about her. She was trending on social media. People, including me, had to Google for all her work. I mean, except for Vasepur, I think. I wasn't aware of her other projects. So it's wonderful that she triggered a unifying emotion in many of the countries, fairly nationalistic, fairly patriotic, younger generation. So I think that's a very good thing she did for herself. I didn't know there was a brand called Mama Earth. I have 2 kids, but I guess I'm a dinosaur and I didn't know it. And today the brand is back in the reckoning for saying something. She herself is back, and I wish she had a movie coming up or something, because
She
this
does.
would have done a world of good for
Kasturi ji,
her.
aapne
But let me
kam
finish.
Google kiya hai.
But-
She does have a movie coming up, Fukre 3, where there's also a boycott trend.
Aha then.
This is
That
what
makes
Gargi
a lot
Roy
of
just
sense.
said, that she's not going to watch Fukre 3.
That makes a lot of sense. I think people like me who were not going to watch Fukre 3 anyway, because we were completely unaware of Richa Chadda, may actually go and, a lot of us may do it for curiosity now. So I think no publicity is bad publicity, and she's done a good job then, rustling up some controversy.
I'm going to get Dilip
getting
Cherian in on
herself
that. No
known.
publicity
But
is
here's
bad
the
publicity.
Thing. Okay, can I finish, Tamanna, please?
Yes.
Here's the thing. As far as the boycott controversy is concerned, I think in the beginning, when it started with the Tanishq brand and all that, I think people were surprised with the kind of power that social media gives them to have their actual voices heard, that, now people can actually feel and hear the vox populi. So people started voicing out for everything, and now it's become kind of a dilute thing.
Is Twitter vox
now
populi?
everything. Now
Okay, is Twitter
outraged
Vox
for
Populi?
everything.
Frankly, no. Less than 1% of the population's even on it.
No,
Is
you
all
know,
publicity
it had
good
an effect.
publicity? 1
It
minute,
had an
Kasturi. Let me
effect.
just get Dilip
Tatas
Charian's
were
point of view. Everyone.
revoking
Let's
ads.
just wait.
It was having an effect.
Okay, let's get Dilip
I think
Charian's
that
point of
is
view.
too much
Is
of a
all
bad thing has
publicity
become a
good
worse
publicity?
thing.
Could this be because of publicity? We, all of us are discussing it here, and this movie is at least in the reckoning. Good for them. Kasturi Shankar just discovered Mama Earth.
The answer to your question is that, somebody asked the question whether there's enough data, and I think there is enough data, at least on the corporate side. As far as movies are concerned, I think that data is still coming through. As far as the army is concerned, they have
don't care.
no interest whatsoever in Richa Chadda supporting or not supporting them, nor does Indian foreign policy and military policy. As far as people are concerned, I think we are talking of a small echo chamber of people. And if one looks at many of these boycott trends, you will find that the people who are venting most loudly are usually people who are the same troll army, as opposed to new people who are incensed or upset or discovering their voice. The fact
Also,
is
empty
that
vessels make the most noise.
people
so
know
obviously.
that, unfortunately, the kind of people who want to spend their afternoon, morning, and evening trying to make something trend, which is a boycott trend, are people who have very little interest in the subject and are just doing this because that is part of their trolling army duties.
What you're saying is right, that the real world perhaps doesn't actually care about what has been written, but it's adding to that sense that watch your mouth. Watch your mouth, be very careful about what comes out of it. Because you don't know who's going to take offense.
Can I come for 30 seconds,
Very quickly. I've run out of time, but very quickly to Ms. Roy and Mr. Tyagi, just 10 seconds each. First, Ms. Roy.
I'll give two rebuttals, Tamanna, firstly, when they talk about boycott, this is the same people who also tried to boycott the Kashmir files. You remember? There was a huge section who had wanted to put the film down. But because of word-of-mouth publicity, people were moved, people watched the film. So they are very selective. They are saying only one kind of people.
That's okay. Everyone is selective about what they like and they don't like.
People like Richa Chadda should be taught a lesson.
Now, what do you mean by this? 1 minute. What do you mean by taught a lesson? What is the lesson you want to teach her? No, what is the lesson, Ms. Roy?
Why should it is unfortunate, Tamanna, it is unfortunate that someone who ridicules our army, who insults those martyrs who fought hand
What is the lesson you want to teach her for her comments which she has deleted, which she has apologized for, which was stupid? What is the lesson you want to teach her? You said I want to teach her a lesson. What is the lesson? Lesson. What is the lesson?
People should not be given.
Do you have a clear answer or not? Because you're talking about something else. What is the lesson?
Of course, she should not be able.
What is the lesson?
Isn't it my choice to say no? I don't want to watch film of Richa Chadda.
So you're saying you not watching her movie is the lesson you're going to teach her. Okay, that's your individual choice. As long as the lesson is peaceful and left to your individual choice, that's fine. I've run out of time, but I promised Mr. Tyagi a response, so I will give it to him. Please, let's hear only his voice. Yes, Mr. Tyagi, very quickly.
What I'm trying to say, Tamanna, that this trend is very dangerous because this has an impact on the huge society at large. Now, Bollywood has been extremely selective and reticent in terms of making a film on certain religion. They have very consciously ignored because the ramifications are humongous. If Richa Chadda had been in China or in some dictatorial country, she would have been lifted by this time and put behind the bar. But India is a democratic country, but this trend it's a deterrence. Richa Chadda doesn't matter whatsoever she is. But if you continue and encourage this trend because, it doesn't make a difference at all, Indian army will not get demoralized, I think these are very childish statements.
All right.
We need to arrest this trend. That is what I'm trying to say.
Welcome to your view, Mr.
And we need to take
I will not ask to boycott you because I
don't.
don't like what you just said. That's the strength of this democracy. We'll take a very short break. We're coming back on the other